What is self-taught?
Yeah, there's a simple definition. It is any verbal message directed at yourself. Every time you talk and there is no one else to listen, either because you're all alone or you're just using a small voice within your head, you're practicing self-talk. It has a linguistic structure and it's addressed to yourself. So that's the very basic definition of self-talk. What makes self-talk so different is the origins, where those messages come from. And then you're going to have messages can come from other people who told you to repeat certain things. Like I asked my athletes to repeat certain things. Some of the messages come from very basic cognitive systems, and some messages come from more controlled, more developed cognitive systems.
So if someone is at an early stage of their development, what is the sort of likely self-talk that they might have then? What I'm getting at is, can self-talk develop into different sort of like a different message that's being sent as you go up, the more experiences that you're having? Have you looked into that at all?
We have looked into the experience and how that affects self-talk, and especially I have experienced that as an applied practitioner. But self-talk develops in our youth. So just a very, very brief mention about where self-talk comes from. It is through self-talk that humans actually learn how to think. So when you're a kid, when you're a toddler, you learn your first words, and you tell those first words to your parents. We call that social talk. Then your parents speak back at you. Now, what kids then do is they start talking out loud, but without any adult being there. They talk to their toys, they talk to themselves, they repeat messages they have heard from their parents. We call that private speech. And then at some point, the kid notices I don't have to say those things out loud and in full length. I can abbreviate them, I can make shorter versions of them, and I can even, just say them as a small voice inside my head. That's called inner speech. And that inner speech is a way of thinking. All linguistic language comes from there. It develops from social speech to private speech to inner speech. So as a 7, 8 year old, you already use all different types of self-talk. The question isn't about what types you use, but what quality they have. And the more experience you have, the better you're able to talk to yourself.
What about the environments? Do you know what the environments can do for that quality of self-talk? Have you found what best environments create better self-talk, better quality self-talk?
Yeah. Generally, environments that help you reflect on what is happening to you and build self-knowledge are the ones that lead to better self-talk. So if you're working with coaches, first, if you have parents, but then you also have coaches who, instead of telling you what you have to do, what you have to tell yourself, what is correct, you have people who make you reflect on your experiences. The more self-knowledge you develop, the less you depend on other people, and the more you start talking to yourself. If I empower you and help you to talk to yourself, the more you will, or better you will talk to yourself. If I already tell you everything you need to know, the less you will talk to yourself and the more you will depend on me. So that is one environmental aspect. Then there are many others. There are cultural aspects, linguistic aspects. So one interesting thing I find that this is fascinating, that in cultures where parents talk less to their children and have more a exemplifying approach. So there are cultures where parents don't tell their kids how they have to be. They act as an example. If they want their child to be calm, they act calmly. If they want their child to read, they read. In those languages, children use less self-talk. They use much more imagery. They imagine how they want to be in that situation. In other societal contexts, and I think the British or the Western European context generally, is much more about telling people what they have to do. And of course, what children learn is they talk to themselves more. They use more self-talk. So there are many environmental influences.
Hey, if you've enjoyed that video, then you can click right here to watch the full unedited version of that episode. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel by clicking the button below. I'll see you soon.